The new Parkway Theater, where good food, diverse entertainment, and community create a place for everyone. For showtimes and special events, check out www.thenewparkway.com. You are listening to High School 510, where real talk is our vernacular.
That's what you get in the Midwest. But you want to stay in the southern regions, you want to stay out west when you go on a love truck stop trying to make a move on a woman. That's very easy to make a move on a woman. It's at the truck stop. You just lie to her and tell her things like, hey, I'm going places, baby. You want to go with me? Take her to the next town over. She ain't never been to the next town over. And shoot, you going mine. Take her in there, Shoney, and you got that.
What the fuck is this?
Hey, Tiger Woods did it.
Shout out to Nipsey Hussle sponsorship and RIP.
Thank you for saying RIP, because I was like, you realize what happened?
No, I do know.
You realize what happened? Moms ain't been able to drive down Slauson all week.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I would say, if y'all don't know, and I think most people who listen to our show would know, Nipsey Hussle last was it Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was last Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Last Sunday was gunned down in front of his own storefront. What street? Slauson
and Crenshaw, baby. Over there by Slauson and West. West.
Marathon, I think is the name of the store. Or, Marathon.
He owned that whole strip.
Yeah, so he was gunned down by apparently a former associate who was deemed a snitch, somebody who knew him, and it's just sad. I don't know how well the dude knew him, but people said that they knew him and he knew him, and somebody shot him down. There's conspiracy theories out there as to why he was gunned down. Some that are somewhat intriguing. My conspiracy brother radar goes off when I hear some of them. But at the same time, conspiracy brother
you should be on Facebook
still.
with all of them.
I don't fucks with it. I'm trying not to get too caught up in it. But what I will say is
like literally itching to talk about this conspiracy.
What I will say is that it is sad.
Just talk to Pedro and all people we know in LA and all the ones who cousins still part of the 6-0 gang. You should hear what they gotta say.
Yeah, it's sad. Nipsey Hussle was somebody who was about being self-made. Using a platform in hip hop where a lot of times fools don't honestly look into like rebuilding or reinvesting within that where you came from and those around you. And he was trying to go about it the right way, or in a way that was actually thoughtful and productive, and had a plan business wise, economically, planned out. And it was sad to see somebody who was doing that. Whether or not I didn't listen to his music, I didn't know much about Nipsey Hussle, but to see somebody who was doing that and that was his goal and that's what he consistently talked about, to be taken out in that way is it's disappointing, it's sad, and it's a frustrating thing to think about. Even though I have no connection to Nipsey Hussle beyond that, I had heard about him, but I had no connection to him. I always saw, man, Nipsey Hussle sitting courtside. I was like at the Lakers game. I was like, who's Nipsey Hussle? I don't really know that fool. But yeah, man, it's just sad to see a brother or a person of color who's doing something and something of substance being taken out in a way that it was just a hallmark of what we are relegated to and marginalized to on a regular basis. Anyways, what y'all think?
It's funny. I didn't listen to his music. I knew about him. It's actually crazy. Like, my mom asked my sister about him about a year ago, because I guess they were serving on the same board for what is now, even though our area ain't got a name, but they consider it like this High Park area. And so she was like, my sister was talking about him. My mom didn't realize it was him. And when she heard like Nipsey, she was like, Nipsey Russell died. He been dead a long time, right? I was like, nah. Yeah, she was kind of confused, and then she was like, "Oh, that was what your sister was talking about." Yeah, he was on the board. He's a nice young man, on a little committee they were on. Mm-hmm. My mom was real social and tried to be active in the community, and so I never listened to his music because I think I was just my age. I listened to a lot of music I grew up on. First time I heard it was this weekend. I was in the car with Jason. And he was like, man, since he owned his own masters, I'm just streaming it, man. It's going to his kid. I was like, good. He needs something. I hope he's getting some residuals from that food that be selling socks in front of his places all day. All you see is signs every time I roll down there. Sock. I mean, I had a connection when I was listening to his music. It was a connection, you know, because he talks a lot about like the gangs in the area and just the streets. And you know, he was from my neighborhood. I didn't know him. There's a big age gap. I don't know anyone else that know him. Right? Yeah. Pedro has friends who, you know, we got cousins that was in the game and things like that, so they got their conspiracy theory. But you know, it was I felt a little bit of a connection in that way. Not, you know, I empathize. It's sad, but it's something that's known for that area for a long time. You know, it's the reason my mom's used to tell me when I go out, just stay over your friend's house, right? Yeah. And it's sad. He tried to do something positive. It was hard. I had mixed feelings about trying to do something positive sometimes in the neighborhood you grew up in, things like that. But
what do you think he should have done?
You know, just live your best life. He did what he should have done, and he tried to do his best work. I tried to do my best work. Sometimes I think my situation was a little different. Like, he was a little more in the game, and I was on the outside of the game looking in. I was one of the people that most likely got fucked with, like me and Pedro. Or when I was walking home from school, if I wasn't wearing my basketball jersey, I got fucked with for some reason. Even though my basketball jersey was red, and I'm walking through rolling 60 Crip neighborhood wearing red. But hey, if I got on a basketball jersey, I would wear my warm-ups home at the games, because I realized they don't fuck with me when I'm wearing my warm-ups. Even though I'm wearing blue the other days, on those days they don't. Hey man, where do you play at? How'd you guys do? Who'd you play against? What'd you have? Just great questions. Like, oh man, you get them next time. Same motherfuckers when I'm wearing blue, just trying to come home on a Wednesday. Hey man, what set you claiming? Pull out a knife. You got money on you? God damn it! I just talked to you last week. Next thing you know, I'm wearing my track shit just so I can run home. They're the reason I joined track.
Aaron was wearing his hoops jerseys during baseball season.
Exactly.
They're like, yeah, I still play basketball. It's year-round league. You know, year-round schools, we got year-round leagues. We play basketball. We just hoop.
Dude, it was the reason why I joined track, because these fools tried to rob me. After basketball season was over, I went on a regular bus, and I said, well, if I join track, by the time I get home, my mom's and them will be off work and they can pick me up. And so I started tutoring kids and shit. I started doing everything. I stayed at school every day. I told my coach, can I tutor these fools? Get them eligible, coach. All right. He was like, I'll write off on that.
Just no spelling bees. No spelling work.
I just got to make, I talked to teacher into giving us a class, so we'll just sit there, do homework.
I can spell it.
I want to see Aaron tutoring some kids on English.
Man, wasn't tutoring for shit.
Man, I need some English help. I can't with that nigga.
I can help you with that. You need to break out that algebra book.
You need to learn
I tell you what X and N equal. I can't tell it too. You fuck it up, you need to know how to spell something.
You were the dude that when they had an English paper they had to write, and they're like, I really want to write the word nigga in there. Can you write it for me? He's like, had some Aaron's handwriting in the middle. Teacher, this is not my handwriting.
Written by
apostrophe. Go to the notes in the back, the index. AG3.
That's hilarious, man. No, man, it's great. It's a great situation, man. Like, I mean, that shit happens all the time. I mean, yeah, it's just completely random. Yeah, just random, like, fragile thing that we're all walking around with. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, but it's inspiring to see how many people he touched and how many, like, memorials going on, or like all over the country and all over the world.
How many people coming out the woodworks, as my mom would say. Motherfuckers that know they had no ties or anything to them, crying in front, all on Slauson, blocking her street.
Exactly. But yeah, man. That thing just made me think about like Nia Wilson, who got killed on Bartlett like a while back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of crazy. This crazy thing happens, like it doesn't necessarily happen to a bad person.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, like you don't know like how you're gonna interact with somebody when they walk up to you or anything. So I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's all bad. I mean, it touched me just because like we're the same age, and like he's got kids, he's got a wife, and like. You know, they gotta live on without him now, and he's just trying to make it better for other people. He just can't do it. So,
yeah, it's rough when you see somebody who is succeeding and playing the game after after their resilience, after their persistence, and they're playing the game the way that everyone says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Do this, that, and the other, to then be taken out by some senseless, just hater ass shit apparently. Conspiracy Brothers still reserves the right. The one main conspiracy that I saw immediately was the whole Dr. Sebi conspiracy.
The Doctor Who?
And Dr. Sebi. And this is doctor who, I believe it was an African doctor who claimed he knew he had the cure for AIDS, and that the pharmaceutical companies in the United States, and in the last year, they said, we think we found a cure for AIDS recently. like, oh, really? But anyways, and it's been conspiracy theory that AIDS has been a curable disease for over a decade now anyways. But beyond that, Dr. Sebi was like, yeah, and the pharmaceutical companies are the ones who are like holding back so that they can just treat people for this ailment, HIV, and prolong that and make more money off it, because curing it is not, there's no money in that. But Nipsey Hussle was doing a documentary on Dr. Sebi, and the documentary was about his assertion and research into his cure for AIDS. And so he even said, apparently, you know, when they kill me for this, y'all just remember, or something along those lines, like they're gonna try and kill me for this. And so people think that him working on that documentary and funding it, and you know, it being in production right now, was one of the reasons why he was, you know, taken out. That's the one that I've heard the most.
Yeah.
The other one is some Illuminati type shit. It has to do with the number 33.
The best things come in threes, you know.
Yeah. So
Menage a trois.
See, this is his algebra lesson.
It's like, man, you got, hey man, I ordered one casted couch, they sent me 3.
The Holy Trinity. Once you go black, you never go back. 3 was one of the best ones.
There's actually an Ancient Aliens episode called
There
The
is
Power
a
of 3.
lot of, there is a power of 3. My birth number is 3. Aaron Grayson III. Let me think what else was a good 3. Black third, Donnie Daniels, third scene in black. That was unbelievable. I almost cried.
Aaron's favorite TV show growing up, Three's Company.
Oh,
You can't go wrong with Three's Company.
You got Suzanne Summers in there.
Suzanne Summers, and when she went crazy, they brought in another busty blonde, but she was smarter than Suzanne, Christy. And then they brought in Summer and then Christy. It was actually 3. They had 3 different third women. Did you know that? They had 3 different blonde women.
It's like the 2.5.
The power of 3.
What was the dude's
That's why
name?
everybody's trying to get the 3-peat in the NBA.
What was the dude's name?
Jack Tripper.
Jack Tripper. That's what it's 3 strikes in baseball. 3 outs.
3 outs. 3 strikes. Everything works around 3. 3 bases.
Yep.
There's a reason that home plate isn't called the 4th base. It's called home.
3 monkeys, you know, saying hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Yep. The 3 wise men.
The 3 wise men.
Orion's belt made of 3 main stars.
Anytime you got a scene with 3 BBCs.
We need to tell Rayon. Shout out to Rayon sponsorship. Shout out to Neighborhood Heavy sponsorship. Y'all need to come out with a song called 3 Stars next. 3 stars. But yeah, in summation, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. It's sad to see a brother being taken out in such a tragic and, you know, senseless manner, and in a violent, unnecessary manner. So,
you know, Tupac once said that niggas been dying for years. How could they blame us? I don't know, it make no sense, but it always sticks with me whenever black people die.
Jack LaLamus. Bret Hart.
Oh, this fool, man.
You see that?
That fool, man.
That
fool been going.
Hey,
man, it's been a whole week of Bret Hart.
Shout out to.
I ain't even been trying to see, but I've been seeing him on everything.
Shout out to WWF. I still call you WWF. I don't know about your friends. They might call you WWE, but I call you WWF. And they had their Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And Bret Hart was being inducted for a second time. I was like, wait, he's already been inducted?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't understand that either.
It was the second time because he was part of the tag team duo with Rick
Owen Hart.
The Anvil.
Anvil, yeah.
The dude with the
Anvil Neihart.
Neihart, yeah, he died. But anyways,
Rest in peace.
He was being,
that's what got me into wrestling, was my boy Bret Hart, the technician.
Am I the only one aroused right now?
Come on, god damn it, man.
anyways, yeah. Well, so he's being inducted. They were in Brooklyn. The show was happening there, and in the
What's good, nigga?
in the
You remember when it was Black History Month and you weren't saying that word?
And I ain't playing no.
And like I told you, I'm just trying not to say it on the show. I still use it in my personal life. You know what's funny? Ed gave us a speech at Sea Ranch. Shout out to Ed. Great pulled pork sandwiches. Now I realize, do not sign up to cook dinner when you're signed up to cook lunch.
Don't,
or else I'm gonna be cooking at 12 at night.
Just basically
or just
Ed,
throwing my food away.
Tell Ed, say, Ed, can you make lunch with a starter and a dessert, and you'll have a meal for the entire day. Because he'll make sure.
Oh my God, man. I was supposed to cook dinner after Ed's lunch. And I was like, Jared, man, are we going to do this Spanish style where we're eating at midnight? Because I don't want to be in here cooking at midnight. Because Ed's dinner ain't ready. And so, shout out to Ed. Great meal. Takes his time. Ed takes his time making it, but great meal. Ed said something important. And he was like, man, I need you guys. Were you out there in the jacuzzi when he told me? He said, I need you, Jared, I need you guys around. Like, Jason do a good job. Mm-hmm. Like, my son asked about him, this and that. But I need you guys around. He needs to see. He said, my son is always around. You know, he's half white. And most of the people he's around is white. And he's like, I need him to see me interact with you. He said, he see me interact with Jason. He loves Jason. He asked for Jason when Jason not around. He said, but my interaction with you is different from my interaction with Jason. You were talking about me and Jared. And he said, he's going to learn a lot. He's going to learn what it means to be black hanging around you guys. He's going to learn it from Jason, but he also going to learn it if he see me interacting with you guys. And he said, he going to learn how to properly use the N-word. That's what Ed said. He said, go ahead, hit it.
Ooh, this nigga up on that name.
Exactly. He gonna learn how to properly use it. Because that was a properly used right there too. Like I said, I still use it in my personal life. I just don't want to use it on the show. I'm trying to make our show go big. I don't want to alienate all the white people we got watching the show. Irish, British, fake British like Sam. Pedro don't mind the N-word, but you know. He probably only use it when he up in Vail, Colorado. But like I'm saying, when he get paid by the hour, you know, driving the truck at lunch on his lunch break, you know, with some overweight big booty chick at the damn what's that, Love's truck stop, you know.
Take it to a Shoney's.
Just Shoney's. Come on, man, that's Shoney's.
Tell me. He didn't just say that.
Dude, I just found out that Vince McMahon said the N-word in one of the shows.
Yeah, that's where that came from? This line.
When he said it to John Cena, right?
He didn't just say that.
He said it to John Cena. It was all a setup, you know, it was all scripted. And I'm like, how did Booker T feel about this? Like, this ain't a movie script now. It was like, he said it to John Cena, like, yeah, and said it all awkwardly on purpose, and didn't even walk more awkwardly.
He walked by Booker T.
Yeah, walked by Booker T. He was like, yeah, Booker T. That's when Booker T said that? Because the video I was watching didn't show that. I mean, showed him walking, but it cut the sound. All you heard was the Vince McMahon. I was like, did he just say what?
Yeah.
I was shocked myself. Like, wait, hold on. Now, you know, I don't get offended by no one saying the N-word. Yeah. But for some reason, I was offended for the first time ever.
Well, that's like,
hold on.
That's why they're
I think I was offended because he said it to John Cena.
They were trying to keep it edgy because they lost The Rock and Stone Cold. They got to do something.
So yeah, that was it.
Absolutely.
So anyway, what I was saying, like, you know, that he had a point right there. Like, you know, he said and he was serious. He's gonna learn how to properly use the N-word. And I thought about how I properly learned to use the N-word. You know, and it was watching my parents who didn't say it often. My parents didn't say it often, but I knew by their tone when it was an anger or a fun.
Yeah,
and I knew by the tone.
Nigga, please.
But back to Bret Hart.
He was mad at those coons though for some reason. Bret Hart, yeah, I know. Bret Hart took us into a bunch of things.
Oh, Bret Hart.
That's what I love about the show, Jerry. You know, we start off with one place, we end up another place.
Yeah. Hey, you know, that is important though. It is important that I can, you know, go up to his side and be like,
yeah, and that nigga owe me $5.
And he gonna understand where I'm coming from.
He gonna understand that. Hey, my dad owed $5. And he wanted his $5 at that point.
Yeah.
It ain't much money, but he wanted it.
Yeah, and he gonna understand what that means. It's not of hate or ill will. It's just that nigga owe me $5.
But it's not just Ed. I was thinking about a deer. Now I won't be using the N-word over there though. It's a different situation with a young, you know, black girl and mom and things like that. But you know, Brandon, I'm a really, you know, I'm speaking for me and Jared, but I'm really trying.
Back to Bret Hart. So
Shout out to Bret Hart.
Shout out to Bret Hart.
Hitman,
he was being inducted a second time for being part of the tag team. That was being inducted.
There will be.
And a fan or somebody ran into the ring and tackled him, essentially. And at that point, a bunch of wrestlers all jumped in the ring and subdued the guy, pulled Bret Hart, and the woman or his wife that he's with, she held on to him and got pulled down as he was getting tackled, and then everyone jumped on top of her and him and everybody. And I was like, "Is she okay?" But anyways, they Travis Brown was there, the MMA fighter, Ronda Rousey's husband now, was because she's there, and they were grabbing the dude, and he definitely got some punches on that dude's head apparently, and they escorted him out. He caught a couple punches from people. He got a good one on the way out where he kind of stumbled after he got hit, but they held him up and continued to like slowly drag him. But yeah, some crazy ass dude just tackled Bret Hart in the middle of the thing.
It's like the wrong environment to try and start something crazy.
Well, my thing is, I thought it was staged. I thought it was like some kind of like stunt because he had a roster like little hat with the dreadlocks hanging off it on. It's some white dude. He's from Nebraska. Apparently, he's an MMA fighter. That's amateur MMA fighter. Some guy who's a little bit out there. People are saying, but he tackled him. And I thought it was staged because he had the beanie, he had the little hat on. He didn't like go up and like try and cold cock him or anything. Mm-hmm. He didn't go up and do anything devastating. He just Bret Hart's like probably like almost 60 years old now, so like he's not gonna be able to be thrown around like that. But at the same time, his daddy was throwing fools around when he was hella old, so I would expect in the jeans, whatever. But so he tackled him to the ground, and that was it. And then everyone jumped on him. But I was like, if this was really like him trying to attack, like I think this is some kind of stunt. Honestly, I think it could have been put on. Like, hey man, are you crazy and dumb enough to run in there, tackle Bret Hart, and then take the punches from the wrestlers who are going to react to it naturally? He's like, yeah, because I love wrestling. And so he did it. And he got his ass beat a little bit for it. He went to jail.
I think he's trying to set up, man. I think he's trying to set it up. He's going to be on Monday Night Raw fighting Bret Hart in a couple weeks.
And I thought somebody said he was hiding under the ring already. So I'm like, that is a wrestling ploy. That's a wrestling gimmick that's been used for years. Somebody's been hiding under the ring the entire match, and they come out and they attack somebody, blindside him. So part of me feels like it's a hoax, but they want to make it as authentic as possible. So somebody high up was like, yeah, you can get under the ring, go ahead. When Bret Hart gets up there, you run up there, tackle him, just know, are you okay? Are you going to sign this waiver? We're going to pay you. We're going to take care of everything else afterwards. Are you going to be okay after you tackle Bret Hart to have Travis Brown and all the other wrestlers come here and start punching you in the back of the head? You good with that? Copacetic. Let's do it. And now he's probably got a lot more followers on Twitter.
That's funny. No, did you see it? I saw something on Instagram the other day. Cause this girl was like in a video chat with the dude, and then a couple other dudes show up in the back of the screen, right? And they're talking real crazy, and she's like, "Oh man, y'all can go to jail talking like this." And she's like, baby, we already in jail. They back up this camera.
They were in jail.
All the
Come on, man.
And I was like,
shit.
Oh shit. You know, talking about Yasiel Puig. Ready to throw fisticuffs.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, that was the lame ass. all these fake.
He wasn't faking it though. Everyone else was faking it.
Everyone's faking it.
So Yasiel was not faking it.
We gotta tell the story before we just start talking about it though.
Yasiel Puig apparently tried to fight the entire Pirates team. Like he went out there, basically swinging, and like none else was swinging. Nobody from his team was out there yet.
So Chris Archer threw behind Derek Dietrich today, and Dietrich didn't even like respond like that adamantly. The funny thing is that y'all getting at is that Yasiel Puig ran out there ready to fight for his teammate. He's like Peoples Hernandez. He's like, you threw at my brother. You threw at me now. Stabbing himself. I done stabbed himself with each other like, bro, that's Peoples Hernandez right there. Anyways, it was funny to see. It's funny to see Yasiel Puig react that way. He's a new player on a new team. But the thing that I got was like, all these fools are just fake tough dudes now. Nobody really playing away.
Yasiel wasn't fake.
If Yasiel was trying to really do something, he would have ran out there and just gone out to the picture.
It took a lot of people to hold him back, though.
But that was after everyone was out there and everyone was coming down, and he got a second surge and ran back over there.
He got like 3 surges because he tried to go like 3 times.
And crazy.
He's the one that kept the shit going. Him and homeboy Garrett, that big tall pitcher. They had to hold those 2 back.
The thing is like my boy Melky Cabrera was the one who was keeping him calm for the first stanza of his of his upsetness and part of the second, I guess. But like, is Melky Cabrera? And I was like, wait, Melky Cabrera still in the league? I was like, wait a minute, shit. Melky Cabrera, bro, he helped me in fantasy pretty well.
For that half a year,
motherfucker was hitting 400.
He was hitting 400 that half a year.
Man,
until found out he was on all kind of roids. He got kicked out got suspended 81 games or 100 games after that.
I tell you what San Francisco's all about, though, man. They'll
Dude, I was so mad because that's the reason they won the title that year. Because remember, they started off like shit. He was the only reason they were winning enough to still be in the contention for the wild card. And then when he got, I think they knew, and they just kept him going. It's like, we gonna ride this out. Because you know what? Baseball never tells you when someone gets suspended, like when their test failed. Like where NFL, it's like, as soon as you fail, that shit's in the news and you out right then, right? Like baseball, there's a big process. So he failed earlier. He actually failed like it was either end of last season or during the summer. So he just it was like, I'm gonna get suspended halfway through the year. So I might as well just fucking just keep going and just like Jarrett said, he was batting 400. He was killing it, and the Giants were awful at that point. They weren't playing well, but he kept them around right around the wild card. Then he got suspended, and then they got a little hot, made the wild card, and they stayed hot and won the World Series. Bullshit.
Yeah, Marco Scudero ended up going full retard.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was funny. Yasiel Puig going crazy for no reason.
Man, I feel like there's no reason to be a tough guy when like everybody's making that kind of money, and you can possibly hurt your hand.
Yeah.
And not get paid.
And the one sport that if you break one small bone, you out.
Man, you see the dudes on the deal from the Red Sox? He got poked in the eye by a toddler. Like he was going, I guess he was going out in the stands, and the toddler right in the eye.
That's tight.
15 days. You like, what the fuck?
Like, bro, I've seen MMA fighters jab the whole three knuckles in their eye and keep fighting.
NFL players might lose an eye. They'll stay in the game. They'll go to silence.
Ain't you seen any given Sunday? Give me some Toradol. Let's do this. Who was it? Did you see David Price calling out Major League Baseball the other day over not promoting black players in the way that they should be? Yeah, he's like, man, you guys need to be talking about Mookie Betts. You guys don't talk about Mookie Betts. You guys don't give him. It's like it's Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, and that's it. Like they don't show no love to any other players, and I've heard, shout out to Levitar's show sponsorship. Levitard and Friends podcast platform. Pick us up. We'll take $25 a month. It's all good. Sponsorship. Regardless of which, they talk about the cultural exchange and the cultural difference, and that's like something that you can't avoid, but it's also something you can't neglect. And if you choose to neglect it, thus avoiding it, then you don't have the crossover and the exchange. So it's, I don't know. I think Mookie Betts and David Price had an issue with race and in the leagues playing in Boston. They're both playing in Boston. But yeah, Mookie Betts is easily the best player in the league right now.
Yes.
The last 2 years has been the best player, or arguably
one of the best players.
Last year,
Mike Trout's been the best player, so he's been the second best player.
Put it this way,
Mike Trout's the best player all time, so he's been the second best player. Dude.
I'm gonna say Mike Trout is really, really, really good. I'm gonna say Mookie
Mike
Betts
Trout's been the best
really,
player
really good.
of all time.
But no, because we've also been desensitized to the fact that just like being what a really good hitter is. Like Mike Trout's a really good hitter too,
and he's a good defender too. Don't get him.
No. But Mike Trout hits more home runs than Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has also been hitting over 30 home runs now the last 2 seasons.
He has been. But Mike Trout also has a higher batting average.
Slightly. I don't know. I don't look it up, bro. I don't think Mike Trout has been hitting better average. Not to mention, Mookie Betts has more talent.
Mookie Betts has been the second best player behind probably what is considered the greatest player of all time.
I don't think he's the greatest player of all time.
Who could be considered the greatest player of all time?
I would never say that.
You
jumping on the social media bandwagon trying to
I ain't jumping on social media bandwagon.
Crown this white man a champion. He's good.
Dude, look at his numbers. Baseball's
good.
all about numbers, and look at his numbers.
But there's something more than numbers.
We're talking about last year.
MLB's not good at promoting any player though. Like I don't think
they don't.
I mean, number one, you gotta find a black player. You gotta find a good one.
There used to be a lot of good black players.
Which they're not good at.
There used to be a lot of good black players. I saw a video clip a couple weeks ago, and it was Ozzie Smith when he was 40 years old, running out to go play shortstop, and did a fucking triple sow cow quadruple double axle flip.
Flipping.
Yeah, and they're like, this is Ozzie Smith at 40 years old. And Ozzie Smith, his talents declined. He was never a super dope power hitter. But as a fielder,
he just slapped the shit around.
A fielder and a dude
bases.
who could hit and steal bases, just athlete.
He was a great athlete.
He was you don't get those players in baseball anymore. You're not getting those players on a regular basis in baseball anymore. So Mookie Betts as being a top prospect to living up to the hype, exceeding the hype, and becoming, yeah, you can say the second best player. If I had to say who's the best player in baseball, yeah, I'd say Mike Trout. But that's also what we're being fed. Like it's not even a
I watch
question.
baseball.
It's not even a question about how good Mookie Betts is relative to Mike Trout. It's just Mike Trout's the greatest. And if they could, they'd give it to Bryce Harper. If they wish it was Bryce Harper, but they don't want to give it to Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper hasn't been. But Bryce Harper is like easily considered the second best player for not being the 10th best player in the league because it's the same thing as UFC. They're hyping up the fighters that they feel that they're predetermining is their client base and what their client base wants, instead of being like, hey, let's put out a good product. And sometimes a good product is not going to be something that is always traditional to what we expect them to like, but people will like it anyways because they liked our product.
Tell me when you're ready for the stats.
Well, what you're saying is, but the point of the matter is they need to promote of who their base is going. Who their base is going to like, because people buy jerseys for the team they like. They don't buy jerseys.
I know,
just because he's the best player.
But that is wherein lies.
Unless he's Jordan.
But that's where. But no, here's the thing. That's where racism exists.
All right, can I?
And hold on. That is where racism exists. Like, and it's not even about hate. And everyone's like, don't call me racist. I don't hate people. No, racism is not about hate. It's about setting a hierarchy of who is more important, who's more valuable. And that's what racism is right there. So you guys are okay with that, and I understand that it's the game that we play, and so I'm like, okay, that's fair. It is what it is. I can't stop it from being what it is, but I don't have to agree with it, and I can still speak up on it. And that is where it lies. That's how you adjudicate. That's how you economically indicate. That's how you make decisions based upon who is more valuable to you, based upon what you predict or want them, or what you think they're gonna want. That is racism.
What's crazy is that in the last, 8 years, Mike Trout's either been first or second in MVP voting, right? So you can't sit here and act like he's just some guy that's being hyped, Jerry.
No. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that, number one, there's the opportunity for a lot more Mike Trouts to be there because baseball has shunned the inner cities and black culture. So that's something that I'm arguing off a platform of understanding. That's not even me saying that outright right now, but let's clarify that. But the other point is that, yes, Mike Trout is the one player that is by far the biggest player in the game. He's been the best player in the game for several years now. So in that way, Mike Trout is still not a household name of being recognizable, of being marketed in that way. They don't market even their white players that well. But what I am saying is you have some of these young black players, market them and give them even that same mediocre exposure you're giving to Mike Trout, and get these guys up a little bit. And I agree with David Price that they don't do a good job marketing the players of color or the international players who can add so much more to the game. And one of the reasons why baseball is falling behind is because they've gone to sabermetrics and they're all about home runs. You don't have creativity or character within the players. One of the most unique things about baseball, I've always said, is that players can throw differently, they can hit differently, they can swing the bat differently, they can run at different speeds, they can still be a great baseball player. And that's what made baseball a special thing. Baseball is an example of, to degrees, our society in the good ways and the bad ways. So it's trying to become so cookie cutter formatted and so methodical or formulaic that it's killing itself in the individuality and the uniqueness and the actual fact that it doesn't have a time limit on the game. That it's a game that players can be this, that, or the other and still be effective and impactful and valued. It's trying to make it to where everybody is the same bionic, robotic type player, that now you've eliminated the things that make people want to be drawn to your game. And that's what baseball has done. And they've essentially done that by cutting out the inner cities. They've essentially done that by not trying to bridge the gaps beyond the little thing where they pay for negotiating with international players who I bid the most money to negotiate with this player. Oh, you're bridging some gaps there, but all you're doing is bridging bank gaps. You know what I'm saying? You're not bridging actual cultural gaps. You're not bridging character gaps to these players and to these countries and communities they represent. So, therefore, all you have is this formulaic recipe that's leaving you at dying or slowly dropping off rates of return.
So this is my question, Jared. How can you write this up, figure this shit out, and then get baseball to hire us to be in charge of some shit like that and make us some money, and then have a job where we just going to watch baseball all in every different fucking stadium and getting paid to do it? That would be a dream come true.
I mean, it was just a dream.
Instead of bitching, we got to figure this out.
Where's Dabo?
We got to talk to you. Stephen A. Smith got a $10 million contract coming up out here per year.
So
I need to talk to you. Like,
he's on every show.
We need to talk to Stephen A. Smith. And I know. I was like, at first I was like, dude, he about to get paid. But then I think, man, if we break that down per hour, he might not be getting paid because this motherfucker basically like in between each show, he got to do podcasts. It's like, man, I don't think he go to sleep.
Well, because he's on like First Take.
He's on First Take,
like 2 hours, right?
And then he has the Stephen A. show.
Yeah, and
then he has a podcast.
Then he's on like Get Up.
Yeah, Get Up, and then he has a podcast.
And he's at NBA games at night.
Yeah, and then he's doing the NBA game. So basically, he's working 18-hour days.
Bro, they're like, bro, you about to make $1 a minute. That's making $10 million.
Yeah, you make $10 million a year. But
yeah, we gonna work you to death.
You working all those minutes.
Hey, bro, he gonna be wearing them old house cleaning lady shoes when he's older. These are the only things that don't hurt my bunions.
Walking slow.
The only things that don't hurt my bunions. He gonna have the crooked fingers. He working so hard. That would be crazy if you work a blue collar job or a job where you don't actually do physical labor so much that you get the actual same physical effects. That'd be gangster. You know what? That would be a true form of equity. Shout out to the Cosmos sponsorship. Let's get some real equity out there.
I feel like with Stephen A. Smith, the longer he's on TV, the less sense he makes, right? Because I used to look forward to Stephen A. Smith when we first started.
Yeah.
Like, he just pop up and he say some dope shit. And
he start yelling and you get excited about it. You're like, all right, that was funny.
But now he's on there every day. Now he just yells about it.
And then here's the problem now. He doesn't have Skip Bayless. Like, Skip Bayless was a perfect person because Skip Bayless would say some crazy shit, too. Yeah. Now he has Max Kellerman, who's kind of like, even though Max tries to be Skip, he's still kind of like reserved in nature and all that.
He's also like more of like, you're my equal or you're bigger than me, so I can't.
Yeah.
He knows how to poke him pretty well.
He knows how to poke him, but he's also...
Skip Bayless said shit that was just like, I'm better than you.
I'm not going to poke you.
It's true.
I'm just going to say some crazy shit. Where Max won't say just crazy shit. Like, right? And then some part of it, Max agrees with them on most of the shit. So it's like, dude, you shouldn't have got Max. You should have went out and got that other dude that's annoying that everyone hates that tries to poke
Will
people.
Kane?
Yeah, Will Kane. But Will Kane just do it to be annoying, but he's not Skip Bayless. He's trying to fill in that role for Skip Bayless, but he's not because he's not as smart.
Yeah, I'm Will Kane. I like everything southern.
Only a white dude with long hair. Was that Vilda Radorama?
No, that's definitely not.
Go ahead and hit that button for that one, man. I give you permission to hit that button twice for that one.
Hold on.
What's his real name?
Magic moment.
Hey, Aaron, what was that war we had in the 60s? There was a bunch of protests about?
Probably the Viet fucking Nam.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how do you feel about the people that came over from Vietnam, Aaron?
You know, I dated this Vietnamese girl, and me and her, man.
This magic moment.
You can magic moment all you like. If you ever saw her, you'd be like, hey, man, Aaron, you call her whatever the hell you want. Vietnamese. You don't say Chineses.
I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. That, you know, nigga this, nigga please, nigga, you know, can you lend a nigga a pencil?